What's up, guys, and welcome back to the DualSense podcast. This is episode 66, creeping in on 69. I am one of your
Nice.
co-hosts, Jason. I'm joined, as always, by David Aldridge, famous NBA sideline reporter. No, of course, I'm joined by Travis. Travis, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. I got two things. One might be for me and one might be for you.
Okay.
First one is Kelly Clarkson and her husband have split up. If you're into fat chicks, she is single.
Nice.
So that might be for me.
Is that Reba McEntire's son?
What?
Isn't she married to Reba McEntire's son?
I don't know. I stopped following Reba McEntire after she made that song about a kid being whored out by her mother.
Oh, okay.
And then
Okay.
the other thing I saw, these scientists, they've been studying these tiny beet mite species. They're about 1/5 of a millimeter long, and they have found out by studying these animals that certain animals can survive a very long time without having sex. And I was wondering how you felt
Yeah.
about having those people study you.
Well, it's funny that you should say that because I was just about to say that I can vouch that that's very possible. Very possible
That's
to
crazy, man.
go
Yeah,
extended
you're
periods.
tiny beetle man.
Yeah, I've got another tiny beetle. Maybe that's my problem.
Mm.
Anyway, Travis, we are a PlayStation podcast where you and I get together each and every week and we discuss all of the week's news, rumors, new game releases, and a little bit more. The world of PlayStation. We post new episodes every Monday on all the usual podcast services around the world, like the one that you're most likely listening to or listening on, I should say, right now. We also post the episodes on YouTube, where you can find us at the DualSense Podcast, in addition to game streams and clips that we post occasionally there, if that interests you. And also, if you would like to talk with us, engage with us, find us on the Twitter at the DualSense Pod. And also, Travis, I have a little bit of news here. I have rebranded my Instagram account, my gaming Instagram account, my virtual photography account to the DualSense Podcast. So
Okay.
it's now our official Instagram account. I'll still continue to post virtual photography there, of course, because I do enjoy that. But I'll also pick up posting our new episodes and possibly clips and that sort of thing. So I just figured that would be a good idea. I have a little bit of a small following there, whatever. So I thought it might be nice to just try to get those people in the fold of the podcast here. So anyway, without further ado, let's jump right into the news like we always do. And it's really been a rather quiet week, rather calm news week. Not a whole lot going on, but there's a few things nonetheless. Number one, French developer Quantic Dream, the studio behind PlayStation hits Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human, is rumored to be working on a Star Wars game, according to a French YouTuber whose story was corroborated by none other than Tom Henderson. The project has allegedly been in development for 18 months and is rumored to be more of a traditional action game compared to Quantic Dream's previous titles. Henderson stated, quote, "It's still currently unclear on what exactly the 18-month time span entails, with rumors within the French developer community suggesting that the title could have just started full development in the past several months," end quote. In a peculiar twist, Quantic Dream liked to tweet about the rumored Star Wars game before eventually removing it. It's interesting. Henderson also revealed that Quantic Dream was working on an open-world space game after releasing Beyond Two Souls, codenamed Project Karma, and then later Project Solstice. The game was in development for roughly 2 years before it was canceled due to Sony wanting their third and final contracted game from Quantic Dream. Quantic was also having issues getting their game engine to run an open-world game, according to Henderson. This led to Detroit Become Human, which originally had 4 playable protagonists, with the fourth being a quote-unquote whore android, your favorite, that had blonde hair and huge boobs.
Nice.
The creative decision behind the fourth protagonist and ensuing game scenarios made Sony uncomfortable and had them wanting to wrap up the 3-game deal ASAP, Henderson says. All right, so a lot to take in here. Quantic Dream potentially working on a Star Wars game. We know that before Detroit were working on a space game, so perhaps that lines up in some way. They scared Sony off. What do you? So anywhere, whatever. What do you make of this? There's a lot going on here, but what do you make of all this Quantic
I
mess?
mean, first of all, a whore android. Draw me like one of your French girls.
Uh huh.
Like, is right in line with that. Technically, Star Wars is a space game, if you want to look at it that way. I mean,
Hmm.
if you were trying to vaguely describe something in a coy way and be kind of cheeky, I think you would call it a space game.
Yeah.
That being said, obviously, the space game was not the Star Wars game to begin with. What's interesting is, from what we've read, at least out of out of these comments here in this news nugget, is if they do a Star Wars game, it's clearly going to have to be linear because their engine didn't seem to like the open world. So unless they figured that out,
Mm.
we can assume that it'll be more of a, I guess, like their other two games, it'll be a single player story driven narrative. It'll be linear, linear in its progress, I guess, but probably they'll keep some of their open decision making. I think whatever that means. If that means NPCs might randomly do different things as opposed to you having decisions to make,
Yeah.
I think that they'll keep some of that because that's kind of who they are. I think it would be kind of weird for it to have a Quantic Dream game without stuff like that. I don't know if that would even be a Quantic Dream game anymore.
Right.
I love that they've scared Sony off in some ways, and I wonder what the story scenarios were like. I mean, it's a horror robot, so clearly it's got to be some sort of human robot sex, and it freaked them out because they probably didn't know what to do with that. But
Mm.
from what I understand about Japanese culture, that would have been a huge hit there. So you would think that would
Absolutely.
be okay. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, look, clearly they're doing a Star Wars game. I mean, if it's enough to be in the French developer community, which I didn't know was a thing, if it's enough to be a prevalent rumor there, we've got them liking a tweet and deleting it. We've got a little bit of smoke, and typically when there's
Hmm.
smoke and Tom Henderson says something about the smoke, it means it's true. So I think that's a fair assessment to make, and that might be. I mean, still to me, the biggest thing out of this whole thing is that they scared Sony away with a horror android, which is just a fascinating thing in and of itself.
Agreed. Yeah. I agree on all accounts. I guess that it seems like the Star Wars game is real. It's a real thing from Quantic, especially with Tom pretty much corroborating that. I think it also lines up in an interesting way that they were making a space game before Detroit, because I think that they probably have the bones there, like the infrastructure there for a Star Wars game, because they probably didn't start completely from scratch with that. They
Hmm.
have some of that work already done in a way. Also, to your point, and in regards to their engine not being able to run an open world game, I don't think that we need an open world, more action oriented Star Wars game from Quantic, because we have
Right,
those, right?
right.
We have Jedi Fallen Order, we have, we have Battlefront, which is more of a shooter, but still we had that stuff. I actually think the idea of Quantic, a Quantic style, true to their style Star Wars game is very interesting.
Hmm.
I think that universe and the series and the franchise lends itself really well to their style of game. I think there's a lot of stories that they could tell, so that makes total sense. Now, in terms of Detroit scaring off Sony, I agree with you that I do understand that. Although the Japanese culture, I think that would be somewhat of a hit. I agree, but they must have really been going, I mean, out of left field with whatever they were trying to do with that fourth protagonist for Detroit.
I would
For
love to read it. I hope somebody gets
I
it out
know,
of their NDA.
I know, for that to have been sort of the impetus for Sony to be like, "Hey, three games, it's good. Like, appreciate you guys. We've had enough. Like, three games is enough. We don't need more." You know what I mean. So
Mhm.
that's very interesting. And just finally here, Tom Henderson must know someone at every developer or publisher in the world, because he literally has been on fire. And we're not done with Tom. We've got Tom coming back a little bit later, but just in summary, a Quantic Star Wars game interests me quite a bit. I think there could be something there, and I think that they need to stick with their DNA to do so.
Mhm. Quantum doing Star Wars is in the same arena as a James Bond franchise falling to the Hitman guys, in that same level of
Yeah,
like really cool creative companies that could do something really fun with a notable franchise.
yeah, that's a really good point. Number two, Following last week's massive NVIDIA leak, Travis, developer Respawn Entertainment has quite confusingly addressed rumors of whether or not Titanfall 3 is in development. First off, on Monday, Respawn's community coordinator, Jason Garza, responded to a question about Titanfall on his YouTube channel, stating, quote, "Don't get your hopes up, man. I've said this before. It's just we don't have anything in the works. There's nothing there. We've got too many other games in the works right now," end quote. On Thursday, however, the official Respawn Entertainment Twitter account posted, quote, "Contrary to what some folks are reporting, Titanfall is the very core of our DNA. Who knows what the future holds," end quote. 2014's original entry in the franchise never came to PlayStation consoles, but was followed up by 2016's sequel, which did make it to PlayStation 4 and was very well regarded. It's an 89 on Metacritic. That was the last entry in the franchise, however, which has since spawned the mega popular free-to-play battle royale spin-off Apex Legends, which is in the same universe allegedly. So what do you think?
Well, on one hand, if it's not in development, it's not a money issue. They have enough money from Apex Legends to be able to do that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what we basically have here, well, what we basically have here is a failure to communicate. Because basically Garza is saying, no, there's no way. And then the actual entertainment Twitter account is just like, yeah, it's basically a thing. So
Yeah,
what I'm seeing is they're going to 100% do a Titanfall 3. That's not a question. They're 100% going to do it, especially since, well, one, they have the capital. Two, there's a want. And three, the last one got an 89 on Metacritic. There's no reason not to make it.
sure.
Really, honestly, there's no reason not to make a third one. So I think they are. And in this sense, maybe Garza is right. By the way, shout out to his brother Luca, who got his two-way contract converted into a real contract today.
Oh, nice. Good for him.
You know, maybe it is right. Maybe they're not actually working on it now, as in maybe it's only in pre-development, it's only in talks. Like the
Yeah.
way that I read the two opposing tweets is yes, we're going to make it. It might not be right now, but yes, we're going to make it. There you go. The end of the discussion.
Yeah, it seems pretty unlikely that they don't make Titanfall 3, in my opinion, because that and Apex Legends are in the same universe, they claim. And I just feel like I mean, they say it's the core of their DNA. You know what I mean? Like, that's what the studio started with. It would be silly to leave it behind. It was a really, both critically and, you know,
Spiritually.
from the fans received well. I was having a stroke there. The fans and critics both received the game very well. I don't think it sold terribly well, but like we've talked about on the show before, that's because EA cannibalized Titanfall 2 and Battlefield 1. I guess that was 1 in 2016. They released those within like 2 weeks of each other. You know, so they did that to themselves. Battlefield obviously won that battle, no pun intended, and watch the Titanfall.
Okay, guys.
And so anyway, I think it's happening. This to me reads like the classic case of the left hand not knowing what the right hand is doing. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
Titanfall Respawn probably has, you know, a couple hundred employees, if not more. And it's probably just, like you said, a miscommunication or a lack thereof. And you get instances like this where a guy says absolutely not, and then the official Twitter has to be like, well, hang on a second, we were gonna announce that in like 6 months, and you're gonna look like a doofus. So, and we're in turn going to look like doofuses. So we better say something of some sort. But I think the tweet pretty much makes the case that they're going to do it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have said anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we'll see. Number 3, Ubisoft's open world racing franchise, The Crew, appears to be getting a third entry at some point in the future. It's currently codenamed Project Orlando. Images from the game made it to the photo app Imager or Imgur. I don't know how to say that. I'm too old for this shit.
I don't know. I always say Imager in my head.
I think it's
But
Imager. Yeah.
But Imgur looks like how you would I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, leaked photos made it onto the Imager app this week, Travis, and appears to show locations set in Hawaii, as well as the mention of a, quote, breathless crew versus crew race up to 100 players with vehicles switching along 3 different sections, end quote. Per usual, Tom Henderson was on the case as he tweeted that, quote, the game is not actually the Crew 2 DLC as once thought. It's currently just dubbed as The Crew Orlando, and it is a completely new game with a new driving engine. And it's currently in pre alpha and no set release date. End quote. So let me start with this one. This is the answer to my prayers because I've been telling you and talking about on the show how I'm in the mood. I'm craving an open world racing game. The Crew 2 just doesn't cut it because it's like 4K 30 on PS4 and PS5 and backwards compatibility. It's just not up to snuff. I want a next gen open world racing game. So this absolutely is exactly what I wanted to hear this week. This is real. This is Tom again saying that it's real. He literally, I mean, he's the best insider in the industry right now, without a doubt. But I'm very excited about this. I can't imagine that they'll just keep it in one location. Hawaii probably is a location in the game, but I doubt that it will be limited, considering that that number 2 is the entire United States. So, but we'll see. If they're in pre-alpha, we probably won't hear anything about this until next year. They'll reveal this, and it might be a 2023 game. It kind of sounds like. So, anyway, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, the Crew does need a new driving engine, so that's good.
Yeah.
It seems like they were caught between being arcadey, kind of like Forza, and being simmy like like Gran Turismo. You got to pick one or the other. You can't be in the middle.
Yeah.
So hopefully, for that type of game, you want it to be more like Forza, the way it handles. So hopefully they'll nail that down. That's what that game really needs. It just didn't feel right to me to play in that sense.
Yeah.
It's nice that you can do a triathlon with vehicles, I guess.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess that's cool.
Yeah.
Racing with 100 people is interesting because racing with 20 people is a fucking disaster sometimes. So 20 sounds like a horrible disaster. The thing that I think about is if you're going to race with 100 people, it has to be huge. Like not only is the map huge or the track huge that you're doing, but the actual like pathway you're on has to be huge
Yeah.
to avoid bottlenecks. You're going to get bottlenecks with 100 people. So you couldn't have like a hairpin. Like there's no way. Like
Mm.
if you're the 100th car in line, you'll never get through it. So
Hmm.
that seems interesting, but the crew versus crew race could be really cool because you could kind of set up like a almost like a co-op seasons where you're working your way through what was the last time fans, so you're
Yeah.
trying to get fans or followers or whatever,
Yeah.
and winning
Followers.
winning can boost you up. That could be a really cool aspect of the game. So if they fix the driving model and make it to where it's big enough to service what they're trying to do, then yeah, this game could have some real legs on PlayStation
Yeah.
or wheels.
This
It got some real wheels on PlayStation.
Atta babe. Welcome to the party. I'm very interested, very excited to learn more about this. And I actually think I disagree with you. I think the 100 player races could be very interesting to me, depending on how they execute it. I mean, they're doing that or something similar to that on that Riders Republic game. Ryder, I hardly know her, but
Oh, I
we'll
guess they
see.
could do it like that. That would work.
Yeah, but at the same time, to your point though, that is bicycles and this is bicycles and this is vehicles in the crew. So
It's
there,
tri-vehicle.
yeah, try vehicle. So there is a challenge there. I would be interested to see what that looks like. But man, I'm excited. This and that other game, that racing game, what is that, like Alpha Sunset or something? That other open world racing game that we've talked
Mhm.
about on here. I don't remember what it's called.
It's pre-alpha sunset.
Something pre Alpha Sunset. It'll come back to me in the middle of the show. Number 4, Travis, we also have a bunch of news nuggets here, but we're, like I told you, there's not a whole lot. We're flying right through here this week. But that's okay. Let's jump into the news nuggets. First nugget: Sony Interactive Entertainment Senior Vice President of Platform Experience, Mr. Hideaki Nishino, told the PlayStation blog this week that there are still, quote, interesting, exciting, fantastic ideas on the list, end quote, in regards to future PS5 firmware updates. He also revealed that the PS5 user experience is dynamic, Travis, with frequent updates happening over the network, which Sony monitors to see how people are using various features.
I don't like them spying on me.
Man, they ain't gonna take my rights.
I'd like to know what is exactly dynamic and what they mean by that, because that sounds
Mm,
cool on paper.
yeah,
And I'd like to see what the ideas on the list are because, that's cool that they have some ideas on a list, but they could at least maybe run a few bias and see what we think as consumers. If they just start doing shit, that's when they're going to kind of get in some hot water. I feel like do
Yeah.
some beta test or something.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, of course, they have things on the list that they're working on that shouldn't
Yeah, I
surprise
hope
anyone.
so.
Yeah. The more interesting thing to me is that they have frequent updates on the back end on the network side on PS5 and that they can track that. And I'm trying to think of anything that I think that might be tied to like the what's new section and how how like news stories pop up for your games
Oh
and things
yeah.
like that. I feel like that's maybe what they're doing and what they're tracking like interactions with that sort of like Instagram posts and Twitter posts maybe is what they're
Oh, that
doing.
makes sense. Yeah, I gotta make sure I don't accidentally click something.
Yeah, don't accidentally click like,
Fortnite.
yeah, Fortnite or some JRPG or you'll just keep getting that shit, which I think I do notice that. Like sometimes if I just look at a game or like add it to my wish list, but then take it off a week later, it'll end up in my news feed anyway. So maybe that's what they're talking about. But next nugget. Gran Turismo 7 pre orders open this week with various additions and pre order bonuses, including the launch edition, which includes 3 bonus vehicles and 100,000 in game credits, and the 25th anniversary edition, which includes a limited edition steelbook case, which is sick, and 1.1 million credits, bonus cars, and various bonus items as well. There's also a digital version that does not include the steelbook case, obviously.
Yeah, send me the fucking case, guys.
That case is fucking dope.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. One of the few games where I would consider the bonuses, especially if we're gonna have to tune our own cars, that 1 million credits could be very useful.
Mm. Also, developer Rocksteady revealed official key art for their upcoming game, Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, and shared that the title will combine Rocksteady's signature character driven story gameplay with third person shooter action set in the richly detailed open world metropolis.
Good God.
Ooh, I
Shouldn't
don't know
that be
about that
called
one.
shouldn't that be called Suicide Squad? Kill yourself? If
if
you're
the
killing
game's
other people, you're the homicide squad.
if the game's bad, that's what people will call it. So I don't know about that one, man. I just why didn't they just make a Batman game? Like I don't know. Suicide Squad's like the thing right now from DC, and it's kind of annoying to me. Next nugget, publisher Versus Evil announced social deduction game, think Among Us here, Travis, will be coming to I didn't even put the name in there. Oh fuck, what's it called?
Well, think Among Us.
No. What's this game called? Let me look this up.
Need some elevator music while you look this up.
That's my first brain fart.
Social deduction game. This is a new game category we're on.
It's kind of a subgenre. There it is.
Yeah,
Okay, so the game, guys, is called First Class Trouble. First Class Trouble.
don't
Okay,
like it.
and it will come to PlayStation 5 at some point in the future, and it will support the DualSense adaptive triggers and haptic feedback.
These these game subgenres are like when you look up rock music subgenres, and they're like, this is blues, this is blue blues, this is emo punk, this is punk metal. It's like,
Yeah,
what are we talking about?
yeah, it is just like that. It's a good comparison. I don't know. It looks cool, but I mean, Among Us is fine. I played it for a little bit on iPhone for like a couple days, but I don't
Hmm.
know. It wasn't necessarily for me, but I get it. Next nugget, website Push Square reported that the recent PS4 firmware update 9.0 has fixed the console bricking issue related to the internal CMOS battery should it die. Along those lines, the big PS5 firmware update last week has slightly boosted the frame performance of some games on the system, including Control Ultimate Edition and Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition.
They said it's running 3% faster, and boy, can you really tell.
Oh, yeah, I can feel that extra 3%
That's
horsepower.
crazy. Yeah, I've been getting to bed like 3% earlier too.
I wish. I wish somebody could give me a system update. Also, Sackboy, a big adventure, received Ellie and Abby costumes from The Last of Us 2 on September 26th. Publisher Atlas has launched a 25th anniversary website for the Persona series and promised a celebration from this fall through the fall of 2022, including game announcements, allegedly. Likewise, publisher Marvelous announced a 10th anniversary website for Senran Kagura series, and publisher Koei Tecmo announced a 25th anniversary website for the Atelier series. Whatever. Also, developer White Owls announced that The Good Life will launch on October the 15th. It's from that guy, Swery or whatever. that people enjoy, a Japanese developer. And then the 2019 film tie-in game Jumanji, the video game, is getting a native PS5 version featuring faster loading times, 4K dynamic resolution, HDR, and frame rates up to 120 frames per second, Travis. So you can
I
see
gotta be
Dwayne.
honest.
Go
That just
ahead.
sounds like a waste of money
It
to
really
make that.
does. It really does. They just wasted probably 6 months on that.
Yeah, for a movie that came out 2 years ago, and it wasn't like the movie was like The Godfather, and everybody was like, "This fucking movie." No, it
Yeah.
was Jumanji. People were like, "Ah, it's okay."
Yeah, I forgot it existed. So there's that. Next up, Ghost of Tsushima Legends received a new survival mode map on Friday called Twilight and Ashes, with an
Mhm.
additional map coming on October the 1st.
Called Twig and Berries.
Website PlayStation Lifestyle reported that Activision Blizzard continues to hemorrhage top
Mm.
executives in the wake of ongoing scrutiny. This time, Chaco Sonny, what a guy, or girl. The executive producer of Overwatch and the upcoming Overwatch 2 has departed the company, as well as Blizzard Entertainment's chief legal officer Claire Hart. That doesn't seem
Mhm.
like a good time to lose your chief attorney.
Yeah, she's probably like, "Fuck this.
Yeah,
It's a disaster. What the fuck do you
they
want me to
are.
do?"
I know they're
And
a
plus,
mess, man.
if you're I mean, and this is if you're a female attorney and the people you're representing are having sexual harassment issues, like, you can't really expect her to defend you very long. Like, women tend to band together.
Right, right. Also, Travis, along those same lines, the United States Securities and Exchange Commission announced this week a full investigation into Activision Blizzard regarding workplace practices, with federal subpoenas being issued for several senior executives, including CEO Bobby Kotick. So good luck.
Is this how Call of Duty dies?
I don't know, man. This is going to be a mess. It really will be. Also, Far Cry 6 will not include ray tracing on PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X. To be fair, Ubisoft announced this weekend it is being done to support 60 frames per second at 4K. So that's fair, I guess. Splitgate developer 1047 Games revealed that the game may get a single player experience in the future, Travis, including a Halo style campaign. In addition, the team is considering a quote unquote franchise mode, similar to what is found in sports games. Interesting, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, with the 100,000,000, I think a single player expansion would have been a fair bet.
Yeah.
But what does franchise mode mean on this type of a game? I don't
I,
know.
I read a little bit of what they were saying, and they said that you would basically like pick AI bots with certain traits or weapons, and you would compete against other AI teams in some way
And,
over
like,
like
try
a
to win a
yeah,
championship?
yeah, and try to win some type of championship. Because I guess technically, Splitgate in the Splitgate universe, Splitgate is a game, is a sport itself.
Oh, okay, it's not an actual, like, military thing, it's a war.
Yeah,
Okay, that's kinda cool, that makes sense. So, why not have, like, a online mode like that?
I
Where you
don't
get,
know.
like, cards of players or whatever, kinda like Foot
Yeah,
or something.
yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be different for a shooter. I mean, I've never heard of anything like that, so we'll see. Next nugget: Disney and Capcom are reportedly in discussions about reviving the much beloved Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Warner Brothers Games announced that former Sony Santa Monica studio director David Hewitt has been hired to lead Monolith Productions, the studio behind the Middle Earth games, with their last game being 2016's Shadow of War. Kana, Bridge of Spirits developer Ember Lab, has disabled the resume game feature through PlayStation 5 activities until the team can prevent the feature from accidentally overriding game saves. The studio also hinted in an interview with IGN that additional content will be coming to the game in the future. They specifically mentioned new combat scenarios. Also, a new rumor suggests that Sim series developer Maxis is working on an entirely new simulation game tentatively called Lost Astral.
That might be really interesting. It'll be interesting
Yeah,
regardless, but I don't know if I'll play it, but it could almost make me play it.
I thought the same thing. It's obviously set in space, and I'm
Mhm.
intrigued. I'll say that.
I've done the Sims things before, so you know what I mean? Like, it
Yeah,
would need to be something else, but that doesn't mean it can't be cool.
agreed. Agreed. Website PlayStation Universe reported that the following games received update patches this week: Neverwinter, The Division 2, Rainbow Six Siege, NBA 2K22, Life is Strange True Colors, Minecraft, Apex Legends, Kana Bridge of Spirits, Madden NFL 22, Destiny 2, Ark Survival Evolved, Dauntless, and Beat Saber. So you've been waiting on something to be fixed in those titles, maybe now's the time to check it out. Also, Hollow Knight Silk Song is rumored to release in February on the 1st, according to more NVIDIA GeForce Now leaks. Deceased wrestling legend Owen Hart, who died during a WWF event in 1999, will return to a wrestling game for the first time in 17 years after All Elite Wrestling and the Owen Hart Foundation came to an agreement this week to honor Hart's legacy.
How the fuck did they get him in the game? Like how do they bring him back to life?
Oh, they gotta go get the Undertaker coffin and put it on.
Oh god! If the Undertaker had, that'd be such a good interlude to play. The Undertaker pull him out of it. Oh my god, I would die. Yeah,
that'd be hilarious. This is why me and you don't make video games.
Yeah, they'd get sued so hard.
They're like, can you imagine us meeting with the Owen Hart Foundation? Like, listen, guys, we have this really elegant solution to bring Owen back to the game. We want to honor him. You know, it's been 17 years. We want to do right by you guys. And then we go, like, they're like, all right, that sounds great. And we go make the game. And then we got the Undertaker pulling him out of a coffin and he's setting him up in the, anyway.
Yeah, we've already went through like 6 other dead wrestlers who said no, but we had the same plan, you know. Like, we're gonna pull Andre the Giant out with the Undertaker. No, okay, next, let's try the next
guy. Next nugget here. Classic PlayStation 1 title, Klonoa. Can't be too classic. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, well, Klonoa Ice, you've had that before.
Klonoa Bar. Its sequel, Klonoa 2, may be getting remastered, Travis, according to new trademarks filed by Bandai Namco. Okay. Saints Row developer Volition has revealed that the upcoming reboot will feature the series' most in-depth character creator as well as cross-generation co-op. Cool. Tom Hardy's version of Eddie Brock and Venom will be added to the Fortnite roster imminently, according to new leaks. Website Gamatsu reported that developer Orca is recruiting Unreal Engine 5 experienced staff to work on Dragon Quest XII: The Flames of Fate. Virtual reality time travel adventure game Wanderer has been delayed to the fourth quarter of this year. Isometric tactical roguelite game Evertried will launch on PS4 on October the 21st. 2.5D adventure RPG Rainbow Billy, The Curse of the Leviathan, will launch on PS4 on October the 5th.
What are reasons that you would be called Rainbow Billy?
I mean, I can only think of one, but
what is it?
Power to him. It's because he's cursed by a Leviathan. So.
Oh, okay. I was gonna guess maybe that he had put different Skittles in his mouth.
Oh, well, that's fair too.
Is that what you thought I was going to say?
No, it's not. This makes me think of like Guitar Hero 3 because there was a song on there called Psycho Billy Freakout. And they said, Rainbow Billy. Rainbow Billy Freakout.
Rainbow Billy Freakout. Crossover.
Yeah. Also, developer Bushy Road announced shoot 'em up game Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid Torogon Breath for PS4. It will launch in the spring of 2022, and she's going to eat that shit like Kobayashi.
Yeah, she is. I mean, who doesn't love a Bushy Road?
Yeah, who doesn't like?
Good.
Yeah, who doesn't like a good Sakuretsu?
Sakuretsu.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shogun. I can only come when she has Shogun breath.
Oh man. Publisher Microids and developer Eden Games announced racing game Gear.Club Unlimited 2. Okay, Ultimate Edition, I should say. For PS4 and PS5, it will launch on December the 14th. 3D puzzle game Puzzle Bobble 3D Vacation Odyssey will launch on PS4 and PS5 with PlayStation VR support on October the 5th. Publisher Nighthawk Interactive Jackhawk 9000 will release Disney Classic Games Collection Aladdin, The Lion King, and The Jungle Book for PS4 sometime this fall. Those are all classics. Classics.
You can call me Nighthawk.
You call me Nighthawk. Those are all fantastic games on this Sega or
I remember
Sega.
Aladdin.
Yeah, Sega Genesis. Fantastic. Difficult games, though. Very difficult. Also, single-player narrative-based spaceship combat game Chorus will launch on PS4 and PS5 on December the 3rd. Game looks actually kind of cool. I'm going to keep my eye on that. Tabletop card-based RPG Voice of Cards, The Isle of Dragon Roars, will launch on PS4 on October the 28th. A demo is also available right now if you're interested. Publisher Square Enix announced and released a remaster of 2D platforming action city building simulation game ActRaiser on Thursday. It is available now on PlayStation 4. And along those lines, publisher Konami announced and released the heavily rumored Castlevania Advanced Collection on PS4 on Thursday as well. Artistic rally racing game Art of Rally will come to PS4 and PS5 on October the 6th.
Awesome.
Looks kind of cool also.
Yeah, top down. It's kind of cool. It looks. I think it's
Yeah.
easy but hard, but it's just fun. Like it's not serious at all.
Yeah, it looks cool. Keep my eye on that as well. Also, Kerbal Space Program Enhanced Edition is available now for PS5, with PS4 owners able to upgrade for free.
I've watched a little bit of this.
I have too. I'm not so sure about it.
It's kind of, I mean, you could put some wild shit on some rock. Basically, you have a rocket and you can put all kinds of stuff on it and try to make it fly. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's weird. It'll explode when you fail. It's fascinating.
that does sound funny. Next nugget: Undertale sequel Deltarune or Deltarune, no idea. Chapter 1 and 2 was announced and released by publisher 8to4 on PS4 this week. A lot of fours, a lot of numbers. Life is Strange Remastered Collection will launch on PS4 on February the 1st. And finally, Gamatsu reported that developer Grounding Incorporated, known for World's End Club, has issued new stock shares to China-based NetEase Games, although it's not a controlling or majority share. And that's all for the news this week. Relatively mild and short news week. I'll kick it over now to Travis for this week's new games. Take it away.
On the 21st, we had Kena, Bridge of Spirits. Or is it Kana? I've been saying it wrong, haven't I?
Yeah, it's Kana.
Kana, Bridge of Spirits. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Following that, we had Soul Frost, Street Outlaws 2, Winner Takes All. Don't do that one. The Hunter, Call of the Wild 2022 edition.
Definitely do that one.
The Storytale, World War Z Aftermath. Surprised that got made. On the 22nd, we have Crisis Wing, Mech Warrior 5 Mercenaries, which I've seen some stuff pop up on my YouTube suggestions about Mech Warrior for some reason, but I haven't watched them yet.
Interesting.
We also have Nexoria, Dungeon Rogue Heroes, Subdivision Infinite DX. Now, I think that's just about like a contractor who builds houses, and you go wild.
And he never finishes any of them.
Yeah, you just leave once you get the money. On the 23rd, we had Castlevania Advanced Collection, Delicious, Pretty Girls, Mahjong Solitaire. Again, we've had that before.
I like Mahjong. We have
Diablo 2 Resurrected, much like Corey Hart. Is that who that guy's name was? What was his name?
Owen Hart.
Owen Hart, whatever.
Corey Hart's a 80s one-hit wonder.
There you go. Following that, we have Ember, which also can't spell their name right. We have Note, a composer, and a note.
Okay.
Port Royale 4, Sakura Swim Club, not to be confused with the family Sakai Swim Club.
Yeah.
The Plane Effect, which is about things being flat.
Uh-huh.
And on the 24th, we had Death Stranding DC, Donut Break 2, Lost Judgment, and Oktoberfest Break Head to Head.
Yep. And that's a rather meaty week of releases. Let's see here. Kana is the biggest one. Is reviewing very well. It's in the 80s on Meta. Gonna pick that up on a sale eventually down the road. Let's see what else we got here.
Are you gonna get a composer and a note?
Yeah, that's a big one. Castlevania Advanced Collection is a big one for Castlevania fans. That was a surprise to an extent there. The Plane Effect apparently is not very good, but it has a free prologue available to download on PS5 if you're interested. And then, of course, Death Stranding Director's Cut is by all means the best way to play that game if you've been holding out. So check that out. And with that, let's begin to wrap the show up here. It's a rather short episode, Travis, but that's okay. Just we can't just fabricate news. Well, I mean, I guess we can. We'd be like all the other news outlets in the world, but we're not going to do that. We're going to just bring you what's there. So let's wrap up by discussing what we've been playing, and if there's anything we're looking forward to, what's on your mind.
Well, I really only played one game this week. Well, I take that back. I'm playing a game right now. I have my wife's key fob, and I've been periodically honking her car horn throughout the podcast in the garage. So hopefully that's driving her crazy. But anyway, I've been playing 2K. things I like about it. It is
Yep.
better than last year. It feels pretty good. Now that I'm adjusted to the only camera angle I can use, which is what we call the Parker Vic camera angle, which is the 2K angle, the one that all the gamers use and streamers use. I've always played on broadcast, so it took me probably a week to be able to like see the gaps and the spaces, and if somebody was open, because nobody looked open at first. It is, and it can be a difficult game to play, and that's fine. I don't mind a challenge. The new animations, like like we were talking about earlier, like if you hold down on the right stick and do a power dunk, you have to time it, and even on the alley oop, you have to time it and hit square to make the dunk.
Mm.
I I do enjoy those things because it feels like you're doing more. It makes the game feel a little deeper. Before you just hit the button and they do whatever. You go into like a preset animation you had no control over. At least now, if you mistime it, it creates a scenario that's completely unscripted within the game, and that's kind of interesting and fun. And it feels like the computer has a little bit of that too. It doesn't feel as automatic as it used to. Although I did play a game the other day, and I told you the comeback code was in full force because I was up
Yeah.
by like 8 or 9, and they literally hit like 7 threes in the fourth quarter. They're like 7 for 8 from three, and they made 7 field goals. It's like I can't win. Like there's nothing I can do about that. Like
Yeah.
I can't make a layup, and they're just draining threes with dudes on them at the end of the shot clock. It's like, just let them win then. Yeah, it's been fun, grinding the cards, grinding the challenges. That's part of the fun now. I think that's an underrated part of 2K is it creates these situations. Like you could grind on Hitman for time or grind on Call of Duty to get all of the whatever you want to call them, I guess all the campaign different levels to get all of your trophies. Same thing with any other game you're trying to get a platinum on. So on 2K on my team, those card challenges are a really good way to do that. I'm on starter card 2. I finished Trey Young last night. I bought Jokic because for me and the way I play, having a really good center that can also score with his back to the basket's really good because on offense, the only buckets I really get are layups, dunks, and then I shoot threes. That's about it. So having a guy I can do post moves with, whether it's hooks or fades or up and unders, is really nice. And I don't have that right now. I have Herb Williams, who's gold 77. And old Herbert can't do any post moves at all. Well, he can, but you're just lucky if it goes in. So anyway, having fun with that. We do have that online league where I'm Houston and you're Washington, and that's been really difficult. I've beat two shitty teams, so I have 2 wins. I think there's only one shitty team left, which is Detroit. So I'm pretty sure I'll have 3 wins because we're playing that on Superstar. The first game we played on Hall of Fame mode, and I wanted to break my controller. Like I considered throwing it across the room, which is my fault because I bought a brand new game and then played it on the hardest difficulty without doing any kind of warm up or any kind of tutorial. And then I got really pissed off that I was losing by 20, which doesn't make any sense. But yeah, been crushing 2K. We'll see where we're going with domination and stuff like that. But that's about it.
So I've also been playing NBA 2K22, just continuing playing some My Team, and we've created an online league, as you mentioned, and that's been pretty challenging. But we'll try to keep going with that, I guess. And then in terms of my team, just working my way through domination and a little bit of triple threat here and there. Really enjoying it so far. I don't really have any complaints. I think the gameplay is pretty good, and they've said that they're not going to tweak it for the time being. So we'll see if they stick to that. And then also played just a little bit of Deathloop. I hope to dive back into that kind of more heavily this weekend and uh, get a little bit further into it, into the systems and everything. And then I also had an itch to play some Destiny 2. So downloaded that and been playing some of that with Jacob, who's playing on PC, and it's good. It plays good and plays a lot better on PS5 with the 60 frames and everything. So there's just so much to wrap your head around and unravel in that game that I'm not really like committing to it. I'm just kind of doing it cursorily, just casually, I guess I should say, and not really taking it too serious. Just kind of having fun with it in the gunplay, and that's really all I played this week. I played mostly NBA and been enjoying that. That's kind of sucked us both in and taking up all all my time for the most part, but I got to commit a little bit to Deathloop 2 in the week ahead. So that's about it. And I think with that, we'll wrap the show up. Rather short episode here. One of the shortest in a while, but that's okay. If you guys enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. Also, review and rate, like, and share. We would very much appreciate it. If you want to talk with us, find us on Twitter at the DualSense Pod. We'd love to hear from you. And with that, we'll get out of here. You guys have a good week, and we'll talk at you next time. Bye-bye.